it's Ahmer here. So something happened that was pretty exciting over the past weekend in Syracuse, New York. So I was actually invited out to this really cool video game convention called Retro Game Con. So before I jump into everything that happened and all of the pickups, I just want to say I had a blast. So let's go ahead and check this out. So this was my first time ever going to Retro Game Con, and I really did not know what to expect, but I was invited out, and I am so thankful for that opportunity. So I'll definitely have some more news coming your way as something big actually happened while we were at the convention, and of course there's still stuff that is going on with all of that. So I'll have to go ahead and update you guys a little bit later on all of the specifics as something big is really happening. So I was invited out to the weekend at Retro Game Con, which was October 8th and 9th in Syracuse, New York. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who puts on this amazing convention. Definitely had a blast. They had tons of stuff there. So of course, you kind of walk in, they have a major area that's full of video game vendors, so it's pretty much what you expect to see at video game conventions. Of course, they have tons of games. They have different little items as well. They have toys. They have some cool artwork, just different artists there who make different renditions of video game merchandise. Just a little bit of everything is there. And then of course they do have special guests as well, so you can get some things signed. You can meet creators, artists, just different developers and things like that from older and newer stuff. So it was really great to see a big variety. And then of course I knew quite a few people going to this convention, so that definitely made it even better. I got to meet up with my buddy Russ Lyman, and I got to see his Mario Kart car for like the first time. So that was a really cool experience, as I had never actually seen it in person, all lit up with everything customized on the inside to really make it look like it has this cool Mario Kart. Then I met some really cool people in person as well. Of course, I saw David Apuzzo again. I even saw my buddy Sean. And of course, I'll go ahead and mention their channels and everything below. And then I met some really cool people that we got to kind of pal around with. So I definitely had a blast, and it was definitely an exciting time. And I really like how they have one of the largest actual like tabletop kind of games where you can set up. They have all of these different monitors. They have game systems hooked up to it. They have this huge computer, this vintage computer area where you can pretty much just sit down, play some games, and have a blast. So I definitely experienced that. I was playing some of the games that I just hadn't played in a long time. Some light gun games like House of the Dead on the Dreamcast. Definitely a favorite of mine, so love playing that. And then I even played the Neo Geo. So of course I was playing some Metal Slug 2 on the Neo Geo. That was definitely a good time. And then I even played some more light gun games on the PlayStation 2 like Time Crisis. So definitely had a blast, killing some time, kind of walking around, just taking a break in between everything else that was going on. And then I also got some really cool autographs and some cool prints. So this was really cool, as I got this cool little program guide that kind of highlights everything that happened. Tells you all the different vendors, and then of course some of the special guests that are there, and the different tournaments and games and everything else. Kind of gave a layout of where everyone was and who was actually coming there. They had this whole entire tournament set up there. And then of course, all of this stuff for Q*bert and Rampage. So this was definitely a cool thing. They had celebrating the 40 years of Q*bert, so you could actually meet the Q*bert creators like Warren Davis, Jeffrey Lee, and they had a whole little panel as well about that. So that was definitely a cool time. So of course I decided to go ahead and meet some of the artists of the various games. So of course I got some Q*bert merchandise. So here are like two imitation marquees right here. So I definitely had to get an autograph, get it signed, addressed to me so that I can go ahead and get this kind of framed and just get it on display in the game room. And then of course I even got another huge art print right here, and I got this one from Rampage. So this was a really cool experience to go ahead and meet Warren Davis and of course Brian Collin. So this was such the experience. Then I even had to pick up a copy of Rampage on the Nintendo Entertainment System and get it signed as well. Now I have one that I can actually play, and this one that I will just have up on the shelf and get it on display. And then of course, I did pick up some smaller prints as well. So I decided to really go all on out. So while I was there, I actually saw this really cool print that they had on their t-shirts for the convention. And this was actually designed by, of course, it kind of has this whole Rampage theme to it. So this is the Retro Boy Rampage for Retro Game Con. It's kind of like their mascot. And it has this really cool print, and it just really kind of like pops out. Kind of has a slightly like metallic style. So I thought that that was cool to go ahead and get that print. Then, of course, I got some signed ones. So here we have the creators of Q*bert. So this is signed the 3 times right here. So I'll have to get that one framed. And then I even got some smaller little Q*bert images right here. So we have these really cool art styles and different styles with the enemies as well. And of course I had to get all of them signed. And since my birthday will be coming up at some point, I figured I'd go ahead and get something for myself. So thought that that was a really cool experience. They are fantastic, very nice, very friendly. We talked about a lot of the historical stuff for the games, kind of designing the artwork and everything else that just goes into it. And we had a blast talking about different things. So that's a really cool aspect about these video game conventions, is you can meet tons of cool people. You can meet some of the artists, the creators, and just really have a good time and just get to kind of enjoy yourself and take pride in the passion in this and see where it all came from with them as well. So then, of course, as I was going around, I decided to update my Super Nintendo collection. So last week we left off with 270 out of the 700 and some that I need. So I was really trying to get at least 10 games that I could at this video game convention. So we got a pretty decent game in the mix here, and then we got some other pretty decent games, some that are a lot of fun, some that I know absolutely nothing about. So I figured that I would go ahead and show off the games that I picked up. So my first stop, I actually decided to go to my buddies, and I went to Forgotten Freshness. They are actually located in New York, and I always see them at every video game convention that I pretty much go to on this side. And I decided to grab a couple games. Of course, they worked out a really great deal as well. So here we have Fatal Fury Special. So this is a game that I did not have. It's pretty much a better version of Fatal Fury 2 from what I believe. And this is a fantastic fighting game. This whole entire series here is definitely a fun time. I just love those beat 'em ups, those fighting games. Definitely always have a blast anytime that I play these. They're just so much fun with the characters and everything else. So this is one that I definitely had to score. And then, of course, this one here, for all of the Simpsons fans, we have Virtual Bart. So this is a game that I definitely wanted to kind of go back and play, as I really don't remember it from back in the day. But, of course, anything The Simpsons and anything from this Nintendo, Super Nintendo era, definitely love. So I can't wait to go back and play this one. This one is one that is up there in price, not by a whole lot, but you're not paying just $5 or $10 for this game right here. So this one, I just can't wait to try it out and see if I remember it from back in the day. Just really have a good time playing it. Definitely been going for a lot of Simpsons stuff recently. So that was one of the stops that I made. And then, of course, I decided to kind of grab a bunch of these games from one person. And they were able to work on the deal a little bit as well. And all of the games I found were kind of half off their normal price. So that definitely helped me out because I got a bunch of these. So some of these are kind of like filler titles, but some of them are pretty decent. Just like this one right here, we have T2, the arcade game. So of course we have the Terminator. And for everyone who remembers this back in the arcades, and who even plays this now, we have this really awesome kind of light gun shooter style, just like the arcade. Of course, I have a blast anytime that I play these light gun games. So this is one that I surprisingly did not have, and I can't wait to give it a go, as I love my shooter games, my light gun games, and this one is definitely pretty sweet to find for such an amazing deal, as I think I only paid a couple dollars for all of these games each. And then we have this one right here. This one definitely gives me those Lemmings vibes. This is called Toddlers. This one has a very clean label. Everything's pretty bright and vibrant on it. Most of these are in pretty decent shape. Some of them I just need a little bit of work to get some of these stickers off and everything else. But this one is kind of like one of those puzzle style games, just like Lemmings. So this one I think I will enjoy, and I'll probably have a blast playing it. Then, of course, we have this one. I have seen this game at some of my game stores for over $10, $15. And when I saw it there for less than $5, I knew I had to score it. This is The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. So, of course, this is modeled after the older cartoon. And this is a bright and kind of vibrant game where it actually looks like a good time. This is a side-scrolling platformer. And it looks like it has a challenging sort of gameplay, so I'm not sure if I'll be too good at this one, but I figure that I'll give it a go, as some of these games are just not forgiving as you play them. And then we have this game, don't really know too much about it. This is Beethoven. So right here we have Beethoven, the ultimate canine caper. So I remember this stuff from back in the day. I think I read some of the books or watched a movie, but of course, we have this game right here, so this is one that I knew I would have to pick up sooner rather than later, but for $2 or $3, you definitely can't beat that. And then we even have this Tiny Toon Adventures game. This one is Buster Bust Loose. I love this cartoon back in the day. I loved pretty much all of the different games that they had. So this one is just like those side-scrolling adventure-style games. And this is very close to the show, and it's just a great game. So this is one that I'm also excited to kind of go back. I know that I've played it before, so I can't wait to kind of experience that again. This game is based off of a movie, which I don't remember. This is The Lawnmower Man. So this game right here kind of did something a little bit different. They attempted this virtual reality, and this is based on the movie, so I'll definitely have to watch the movie and then go through this game and see how it works and see if it's any fun. I've kind of seen some mixed reviews on this game here and how they could have did things a little bit differently. So that'll be interesting. And then we have this game, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Eye of the Beholder. So this one right here I don't really know too much about. I just know that it is an RPG style game. So this is one that I'm not sure that I'll actually get to, at least anytime soon. But it was on the list, and it was, I think, half off as well. So that was a great deal. Then we have this Dracula game, which is pretty much on every single gaming system around this time frame. I pretty much own it for a bunch of them. So here we have this Bram Stoker's Dracula. Of course, this is also related to the movie as well. It's kind of based off of that. And then different games and different platforms kind of have different aspects to it. So it's like this side-scrolling game. Kind of has like this quest-based. And of course it is related to the movies as well. So this is one that I'm also excited to try out. And then we have this one, which is based off of the 1993 kind of movie, this animated movie. So here we have We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. So this one right here, I briefly remember this movie. I think I'd have to go back and watch it again, but I remember this when I was much younger. So of course this pretty much is like these various obstacles that you have to go ahead and move around. So it actually looks like an interesting game as well. And then the last booth that I stopped at, I decided to pick up a little bit of a more expensive game, just kind of running around seeing what they had, and I think I got this game for free by buying the other game. So here we have Rival Turf. So this one is pretty much a beat 'em up, a fighting style game. So this one is one that's a little bit more basic. It doesn't have a whole lot going on with it. It's kind of like one of those like bland style fighting games. But any fighting game I thoroughly enjoy, so I figured it was about time. It says simultaneous 2-player action. So that's definitely a bonus as well. And then the main reason as to how I got that, I decided to pick up Run Saber, which someone actually recommended in the comments below, so I definitely appreciate that. As I saw this, and they actually went lower on the price, and it's a lot lower than what I've seen on eBay and seen on Facebook as well selling. So this one is a fantastic game. This is actually a really great time. You can pretty much pick from a couple different characters, and they have some really cool things to it as well. So it is a side-scrolling kind of fighting where you save the planet. Then of course you can either pick one of 2 different players. You can also play together. So one of them fights using this horizontal kind of style slash with this thunder saber, and the other one has this vertical slash style with this ice saber. So you can pretty much go ahead and play as one of those 2 characters, and then of course you even have this fantastic gameplay. It's kind of like an upgrade on Strider, and this is definitely a great time if you are like a Contra fan or something among that. This is definitely a highly rated game, and of course I can tell with the $100 price tag or more, I've seen it go for a lot more, but definitely working those deals at conventions, trying to get as much money off as possible, it definitely helps. And even though this was kind of an impromptu little visit, I definitely had a blast, and I'm so thankful for this opportunity. I even found this cool little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle flashlight that I can go ahead and put on the shelf. We have Raphael there, and then I got some really cool like pins as well. One for the Retro Game Con, this cool little 2022 arcade machine, as they did have a whole section where you can actually play different arcade games. I had a blast playing this Pac-Man one, where like 6 people, I think, maybe even more, can join in, and you just have to work together to go ahead and clear off the board and restart. But you can actually go against one another, rack up your points, and of course there is an enemy that's also coming after you. And then I even got this cool little Q*bert pin. So it was definitely a fun time, and I definitely had a blast seeing everyone. And of course we all went out to eat as well, so that was definitely a fun time. And as you saw in the previous video, you know that I found that really awesome Street Fighter banner. And that was from a movie theater from the early 90s as well, when the movie actually came out. So that was definitely a really cool score. And overall, I'm definitely thankful for this opportunity. Definitely really thankful that I was invited and I got to experience this, and I'll have some updates coming in the future as well. So pretty much we left off with 270 from last week. We added 13 games here, so we're at 283. So if we could just try and push closer to 300, that would be great. And then of course we'll just keep going and exploring some Super Nintendo games. That way I can keep playing them, exploring different ones that I've never played before. And I really appreciate the recommendations, as I didn't really know too much about this game. And now that I get a chance to play it and everything, it's definitely a blast and a really fun time. So if you guys want to go ahead and put other recommendations of games that I can go ahead and look out for, highlight off of this list here to try and complete the set before, sooner rather than later, let me know in the comments below. And were you guys at this convention? Have you ever been there before? And what did you guys think? Of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out my other videos and stay tuned for more.